The recent air incident between Japan and Russia has had a big impact on the geopolitics of the Pacific. It shows how vulnerable Japan is to the bold actions of its rival. This event not only showed the limits of Japan's defense capabilities, but also exposed the growing tension in a region marked by rivalry between powerful countries. The story began when the Russian reconnaissance plane, a Tu-38, made a bold entry into Japanese airspace. Japan, with its advanced military technology and strong air force, was not ready for the challenge this aircraft presented. When they spotted the intruder, Japanese F-15 and YF-35 fighter jets launched warning missiles, hoping to scare the Russian crew. But to Japan's surprise, the Russian plane continued its mission. This decision not only showed Russia's determination, but also made the Japanese armed forces look bad, as they hadn't fired warning missiles since 1958. The incident, which happened near Japan's coast, was a very tense moment. As the Russian engines roared in the sky, the Japanese armed forces had to act. Despite their efforts to intercept the Tu-38, the situation quickly became discouraging. The incursions happened 3 times between 1 and 4 p.m. in Hokkaido Prefecture, each lasting between 30 seconds and a minute, enough time to set off alarms for the armed forces. Even though Japan responded quickly, the Russian plane not only finished its mission, but also ignored the warnings with a defiant gesture, releasing infrared flares. This act of disrespect highlighted Japan's powerlessness, leaving the country in shock. The September 23rd incident wasn't just a clash between planes, it reflects the complicated geopolitical situation in the Pacific. The region has seen Russia and China joining forces in joint naval exercises, which has made Japan increasingly worried. Brad Shevchenko, a Russian military observer, explains that the current situation is a game of chicken, where both countries are showing off their military strength to challenge the US, Australia, and Japan in the region. Air incursions, like the one with the Tu-38, are part of a larger strategy to expose weaknesses. Even though Japan is a close ally of NATO and has strong ties with the US, it has tried to look strong on the world stage. However, the incident revealed the limits of its defenses. The warning missiles, which used to discourage other countries, had no effect on the daring Tu-38. This raises troubling questions about how Japan can defend its airspace when its rivals don't seem scared by its usual tactics. Military correspondent Echal Penchenko also pointed out something important. Even though Japan protested strongly after the incident, this response was more symbolic than effective. One key factor to consider is how Russian defense systems have improved. Over the years, Russia has perfected its anti-submarine capabilities, making the Tu-38 one of the most feared aircraft of its kind. Equipped with cutting-edge sensors and advanced defense systems, the Tu-38 is designed to find and track submarines from far away, making it a vital asset for Russian security in the Pacific. Even though Japan knows about this threat and used its best fighter jets, the incursion was a failure for them. Japan's defense systems, though very advanced compared to many other countries, couldn't stop the Russian incursion. It's reported that Russian fighter jets escorted the Tu-38 the whole time, giving extra support to the Russian crew and allowing them to complete their mission without worry. This presence of Russian fighters, though not officially confirmed, gave the Tu-38 pilots more confidence, knowing they had backup if things got dangerous. Since the end of World War II, Japan has relied heavily on the United States for its defense. This has left the Japanese self-defense forces in a weak spot, especially against powers like Russia and China, which have invested a lot in advanced military technology. The September 23rd incident exposed this dependence again and raised serious doubts about Japan's readiness for future threats in an increasingly unstable region. Despite having state-of-the-art fighter jets like the F-35, the Japanese couldn't stop a Russian aircraft that was over 40 years old. This raises questions about how effective Japan's defense spending is and whether it can protect itself in an increasingly challenging environment. Also, we can't analyze this incident without thinking about the bigger geopolitical picture. The La Perouse Strait, where the incident happened, is a key strategic point for ships traveling between the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean. This area has a history of disputes, and it's not surprising to find American and Allied submarines there. Analysts say the Tu-38's mission was to monitor these submarine activities. which explains Japan's angry reaction. As things get more tense in the Pacific, with the US increasing its military presence and Japan trying to keep up, Russia and China seem to be playing a different game. As Shevchenko pointed out, Japan's main enemy isn't Russia, it's China. This shift in who Japan sees as its biggest threat is key to understanding the power dynamics in the region. It's also important for Japan to rethink its approach in the current situation. The alliance with the US has long been a cornerstone of Japan's defense strategy, but the incident with the Tu-38 highlights the need for Japan to seriously rethink its defense capabilities and strategic approach. Building an independent and effective military force that can properly respond to emerging challenges is essential if Japan wants to maintain its position in the Pacific. Finally, the incident also raises questions about unity and cooperation between allies in the region. Japan's response to the Russian incursion needs to be part of a larger strategy that involves other regional players, including the US, Australia, and other NATO allies. Building a strong, collaborative safety net will be crucial to counter the growing influence of Russia and China in the region. In short, the September 23rd incident wasn't just a clash between two planes. It clearly shows the geopolitical tensions in the Pacific. Japan faces a serious challenge in protecting its airspace and its sovereignty against increasingly bold rivals. The lesson from this incident is clear. In a constantly changing world, being prepared and adaptable is essential for any nation's survival and security.